I do not post riding videos online. At least I never used to. So Rudnick has had an online following for about 4 years now, and in that time we have gone from him being barely halter broken to saddle broken. And when we first started our adventure in the saddle together, I was still quite rusty from having gone a number of years not riding regularly. Because I had lost my horses in 2016, by the time Rudnick was of a riding age in about 2021, it had been close to 5 years since I had ridden regularly. So when we started posting content online of Rudnick's early days in the saddle, the criticism was not kind, especially considering Rudnick was being trained in English and I had actually had no formal training in English riding. I grew up when you just rode in whatever you had, whether it was a Western saddle, English saddle, or bareback. So we didn't do riding lessons. That was never a luxury that I could afford. So when I started training Rudnick, everything that I learned was what I was able to learn online or through connections and personal friends who had a lot more experience than I did. But anytime I posted videos online, the criticism was very unkind. And while I was just happy to celebrate the fact that Rudnick had trotted a full circle, I had people coming at me from all directions, yelling at me about my heels, my hand placement, my posture, my balance, things that at the time really were not a big priority for me. So while Rudnick was still green, I decided to take a break and completely stopped posting riding videos online altogether. Now, I have videos of them still because I want to be able to see the progress we've made together, how far we've come, and how much better we're doing now versus 3 years ago. But even now, I've just realized that criticism is something that will never go away. It's here to stay, and especially with social media making everything so accessible and opening our lives up for the world to criticize, it's just something that I'm going to have to get used to. But now that I feel like I've grown as a rider, I'm starting to become more confident in myself, in Rudnick, and in the content that we post. So while I know I still have a lot of work to do, I have a long way to go still, I'm a lot more confident in my riding and my ability than I was 3 or 4 years ago. And like I said, riding lessons is a luxury that I've never really been able to afford. It's not cheap. And if I could afford to do it, 100% sign me up. I would be involved in that all the way. But everything I've learned about riding so far is everything that I've learned through research, through studying, watching videos, reading articles from trainers, and just those in my circle that have years more experience than I do. One of my close horsey friends gifted me with a professional riding lesson one time, and it was probably the most amazing experience of my life. Having someone professional come in and tell me what I was doing great, what I needed to work on, and even just showing me new things that I had never even really thought of. It was such an eye-opening experience, and while I know that I've come a long way, I know I still have a long way to go still. That being said, I know that Rudnick and I have come a long way, and despite what anybody else's criticism may say, or their opinions, their feedback, anything like that, anything that's not constructive or anything that's given just for a reason to be negative, I know how to, or at least I'm working on learning how to shut out the negativity that brings me down. I know that I still need to work on my posture. I need to work on my heels, my alignment, my hands, my elbows, everything. I know also that you never stop learning. And if you feel like you have stopped learning and you have nothing else to learn, then you may as well just give up, because you will always have something else to learn. And Rudnick and I have come so far together, and I feel like because we were learning together, I was relearning while he was learning for the first time, it's just made our relationship so much stronger because we've had to take things so slowly. We've had to work on building that trust up together, relying on each other, building that confidence from the ground up together. Everything from scratch, we've worked on it together. And I know I might not have the prettiest form, I don't have the prettiest equipment, my horse might not have the right movements, but we have learned so much together. We've learned how to get onto the right lead, how to identify and feel the right lead. I've learned more about my legs, even though they're not perfect all the time. My balance is so much better now than it was 4 years ago. And like I said, because I've had no formal training in English riding, everything that I'm learning is what I can research online. Everything that I can get from friends and people I know near me who are able to offer advice that are well beyond my years in training and have a lot more insight to it than I do. hopefully someday I can afford to do proper riding lessons and fine-tune all of the little things that I'm still struggling with. I still struggle with my heels. I still struggle with keeping my legs under me. I find my biggest problem is they can't tend to go forward, which causes me to feel like I'm falling forward. But I know that there's things that I've improved on so much, which is my balance, my posting, my leads, just being able to feel Rudnik underneath me when riding and knowing what's going right, what's going wrong. It's all these little improvements that people online might not necessarily see when they watch our videos. So while I might be posting something because I'm excited and proud of how far we've come, to the world, it looks like we are a complete mess. And I am absolutely not against criticism whatsoever. I welcome constructive criticism with open arms. But you can tell the difference between people who are trying to genuinely help and those who just want to flaunt the fact that they know more than you do and tear you down. And unfortunately, there's far too many people in the horse world and online who would rather just parade their knowledge over your head rather than coming alongside and helping you. But we're all trying to learn, so just do it with kindness, please.